Hello!
Ahoy!
Welcome to episode 4 of Bottom of the Stream.
I'm Nick.
I'm Adam.
Oh, we're back again.
We're back again for another weekly episode of Bottom of the Stream.
And what's on tap?
What's on tap? I like that. What's on tap this week? That was being distilled into the stream. Before we get into that, we'll just introduce the podcast a little bit more. It's basically us, a pair of nerds, going through Netflix and seeing what people are not talking about and reviewing them. That's basically what we're doing.
Are we randomly selecting something every week?
Every week we randomly select at the end of the episode and then we watch that and then we talk about it the following week. So if you've not liked or subscribed to the podcast yet, please do. In whichever medium you're listening to it in right now.
Please go and listen to the previous episodes and you can see if we found any gems so far.
Yeah, absolutely. So are you ready to dive into the stream?
Let's go for it.
So what came out of the random box this week?
This week we've got the pleasure, maybe, of watching a film from 2018.
Yep.
It's called I Think We're Alone Now.
Doesn't seem to be anybody around. That's not even the right lyric. I misquoted a lyric. That's terrible.
And this was directed by Reed Moreno.
Reed Moreno.
Who she's directed several episodes of The Handmaid's Tale.
Oh yeah, I've never seen that.
Me neither, but it's supposed to be very good.
I've heard it's good. It doesn't seem like my sort of thing, if I'm honest.
And this is her second feature film.
Second feature film? What has she directed before?
I knew you were going to ask me. I don't have that written down.
Oh, fair enough. I don't really care.
And it's got some quite famous people in, considering our previous things that we've reviewed.
It's a very small cast.
Yeah, who's in there?
There's 4 people in this film in total. Peter Dinklage.
Yep.
Elle Fanning.
Yep.
Charlotte Gainsbourg and Paul Giamatti.
Yeah.
Yeah, just the 4 of them.
Couldn't even make a 5-a-side team.
No, absolutely couldn't. So, as is now tradition on this podcast, give me your one-word review of I Think We're Alone Now.
Slow.
Slow. I'd agree with that. It's pretty damn slow.
I didn't mind this film, but it is slow.
I'm going to tell you that I actually quite enjoyed it. It is slow. It's painfully slow at the beginning, but it's all right.
Yeah, I even though it is slow, it is good at it's atmospheric. And I will say right at the start, this is a cut above what we've seen so far.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's in
terms of technically speaking, this is by far the best directed, best shot,
highest budget,
Definitely best acting we've seen. Probably the best script we've seen, although it is not without its problems.
Yeah, it's a proper film.
Yeah,
it's the end. At the end of the day, this was destined to be a proper film that didn't quite make it, I don't think.
So, do you want to just give us the premise?
Yeah, so basically, it's a post-apocalyptic drama. Peter Dinklage is the sole survivor in a small town, America, somewhere. I don't think we can find out where.
I think it's New York State, going by the map that he's... Upstate New York. Yeah.
Okay,
he's working his way through.
So he's basically decided to dedicate himself to cleaning up after the apocalypse, cleaning up his hometown, and just basically living a life of solitude.
So yeah, I've got that he's essentially like a human Wall-E for the first 20 minutes of this film.
That is exactly right. He's a human Wall-E. He's cleaning up after the apocalypse.
So he's like caretaking, isn't he, of the town?
He's going around cleaning the houses, disposing of the dead, and
looking for batteries,
which are the dead's best commodity. He describes them as
because there's no power.
Because there's no power. He's got no electricity. He lives in a library.
Yeah,
which is evidently where he used to work in his former life.
Well, we presume so.
I think he says that at one point.
Does he?
Yeah, I think he does.
But he's as he's going around the houses and as you say, caretaking, he's making his way through people who own library fines by the looks of it, and he's getting the books back. Yeah,
he's getting the books back
into the library.
They're burying the bodies, very easily manoeuvring bodies considering
They're very decayed though.
Yeah, they are very decayed.
And he's not doing it by hand. He's got a
he's dragging them by hand at some point
to help bury them.
Okay. I have a real issue with Peter Dinklage. Is it Dinklage or Dinklage?
I think it's Dinklage.
Is it Dinklage? I keep saying Dinklage. I knew that. I haven't. Do you ever have with people on the TV where their voices at a register where you just can't hear them?
No, but this was a very quiet film.
I've had it with him in Game of Thrones. I cannot hear his voice.
Right. Okay.
And I don't know why. I don't know what it is. I had it. There used to be a guy in True Blood, and I had it with him as well. And I just, for some reason, their voices at a register, I can't. I have to really concentrate on what he's saying to understand. And that's my issue with the guy. He's a great actor. I just can't hear him.
Yeah. And then, yes. And he didn't have that many lines of dialogue in it.
There's not a single word spoken until the 13th minute of this.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So you wouldn't expect to hear anything there?
No. No, I wasn't thinking, shit, I really can't hear it.
You didn't think you'd gone deaf for the first 10 minutes?
No.
I even noticed he even did some dry stone walling as part of his caretaking.
He did, yeah. He rebuilt a wall, which was strange.
And I really liked the first... Yeah, generally I like this film, but I thought that was... I might even say that was the best part of the film, was the first 15 minutes, the sort of Wall-Y tribute.
There's a really good scene about 10 minutes in where he's asleep in bed and some fireworks start going off.
Yeah, so I've noted that because I was talking about how this is clearly the best shot and directed thing we've seen. And for those first 15 minutes, everything is drab and grey and washed out. And it's all browns, greys, because it's sort of winter time, isn't it? There's no leaves on the trees.
It's autumn, I would say, probably late autumn.
He's, as you say, so he wakes up and there's this humongous firework display out through the glass panes of the library window, and it's the first bit of colour in the film. And I just did that look.
It's a beautiful scene as well.
Really good.
Standing, looking out over them, they're exploding over his head.
Yeah, this guy
really well shot.
Yeah, this guy thinks he's the only person left.
Yeah, it's got to be pretty disturbing. He's obviously not spoken to a single person for a very long time at this point, because he's managed to clean half of the town at least. And then all of a sudden he's confronted by these explosions going off in the middle of the night.
Yeah, he doesn't think there's anyone else around, but there is.
You made the same joke I made earlier. So you did it properly because you didn't get the lyric wrong. Yeah, so we don't really ever find out what happened to the people. No. It's at one point they say that everybody just suddenly dropped dead one day.
Yeah,
which is a scary thought, but we don't know what caused it. We never find out what caused it. It's not really an issue in the film to find out.
No, it's just that this thing has happened, and that's fine. That's good enough. That's all you need as a setup.
Yeah, we don't need to know. We don't need to see scenes of apocalypse and that sort of thing. And we don't get it. You just have to accept the fact that everybody just dropped dead one day. It seemed to be pretty sudden as well. There were people who were still in their cars, and there was people in the house with the remotes in their hands still. People were just
sat at the breakfast table or whatever.
It literally just appeared that everybody just died. But then he comes across a crashed car. It's at this point, I think. Yeah,
so he's on his walk the next morning or whatever, isn't there? And there's a car alarm going off, which again pierces the silence. Before that, the beating of his heart was the only sound.
Nice. So he comes across this crashed car. There's a lady inside, or a young girl.
Yeah, teenage,
maybe early 20s girl.
Yeah, she's injured, isn't she? She took a knock on the noggin.
So he manages to get her inside into a bed.
Yeah.
She eventually wakes up. He's locked her in the bedroom.
And he says, "You had a gun on you."
Yes.
That may come back later.
It may come back later. That does come back later. Yeah, so she wakes up. She's obviously confused by why she's suddenly locked in this bedroom. You would assume at this point that she hasn't spoken to anybody for quite a long time as well.
Yes, correct. And eventually they sort of have a bit of a chat through the door. He says, "I'm going to let you out, but I want you to clear off," basically. Yeah,
I want you to... I'm going to unlock the door, count backwards from 100. She gets to 98, she opens the door, which I think was funny, made me laugh. I like that.
And then we go through this. It's kind of... You have to get this bit out of the way because you've seen it, this sort of odd couple bit where she wants to stay, he doesn't want her to stay. She offers to help him out.
She follows him around for a while.
Yeah.
He can't get rid of her. Eventually she decides to go, and then he suddenly changes his mind.
Yeah, he's come around to the fact that actually...
Yeah, he makes a good point. He says, if I let you go, I'm not going to know where you've gone, and if I change my mind, you might be the last person I ever speak to.
Yeah.
Which I think is a fair point.
One thing we didn't mention earlier, so as well as taking the books back to the library, he also steals photos, doesn't he?
Yeah.
From the dead people,
Takes
houses, families.
them out of the frames.
The house can't die.
The house can't die, no. He takes them out of the frames and keeps them in a file.
Yeah. She finds his creepy photo collection at one point.
Yeah, she does. Just comes after she finds a dog.
Yes.
She finds. I don't.
Yeah, they're on one of their days out cleaning. They find a. She finds a dog.
Start going out and cleaning together at this point. And get things done a lot quicker.
But the dog doesn't last very long.
No, the dog doesn't last very long because he releases it.
Yeah, well, it bites him.
Yeah.
And then it's not there in the morning, and he says, "Well, I let it out because it needed to go for a piss."
Yeah.
Basically.
And never let it back in.
Well, obviously, yeah.
I let it out. I didn't let it back in his place, but he did go and help her look for it before he reveals this.
Yeah, it wasn't portrayed like he'd done it on purpose.
No, I don't think. I genuinely don't think he had. He's forgotten, maybe. I don't know. I don't know what's gone on there. She lost the dog. He'd let it out, but he did go and help her find it. They never do find it. So it makes another appearance, but it's
no. But this is all sort of as they're bonding, aren't they? And we get into a montage.
Yeah.
Of them setting up solar panels,
cleaning montage.
Yeah, doing more cleaning. Doing some work in the greenhouse, so they start growing their own plants, vegetables.
You're supposed to think at this point that a lot of time has passed.
Yes.
He's got the map where he's crossing off the houses,
yes.
and that's filling up rapidly during this montage.
Yeah, so they're working their way around the whole town, cleaning it up. And what did you think of the chemistry between the two?
I really enjoyed them.
Yeah.
I thought they worked really well together. I thought they had it's difficult to build a chemistry when there's not a lot of dialogue in the film. And there isn't a lot of dialogue in this film from start to finish. I mean, like I said, there's nothing from until the 13th minute, but after that, they don't talk a lot in it.
I think this film would have been better. It seems very strange to say it with a film that only had 4 people in it. It had too many people in it.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
I'd have enjoyed it more if the whole thing had just been these two.
Yeah,
personally,
I've got a take on it, but I'll come to it later on.
Yeah.
I thought it was, at this point I was really captivated by it. I was like, I like where this is going. There's not a lot happening, but it's quite a good chemistry between them, and it's a nice story what they're building. And I thought it's got to be building to something, and I'm hoping whatever it's building to is going to be good.
Yeah, so I think the first hint of a twist sort of comes not long after this montage where Grace, who is Ellie Fanning's character, is in her bedroom, and she's putting her hair up or taking her hair down, I can't remember.
Yeah, one of them.
Anyway, she pulls her hair away from her neck, and she's got a significant surgery type scar down the back of her neck.
I thought you were going to go with significant surgery scar. Go with alliteration. Yeah, she's got a big scar right down the back of her neck, which again made me think, something interesting is about to happen here. This is building up to something.
Did you think aliens straight away?
I didn't think aliens straight away.
I don't know why I said that.
No, I didn't. But it was clear that something was going on. And then it took a further turn when he, mirroring what happened earlier, he wakes up in the bedroom alone.
Yes, and he hears voices.
And he hears voices downstairs, which again must be quite... Well, he was spooked because he got a gun out of the drawer.
Yeah.
He found her gun because he was in her bedroom at this point.
Yeah. But because they'd had a little kiss, hadn't they?
They had a little kiss. And presumably more because he woke up in her bedroom the next morning.
Yes.
You don't see anything of that ilk, but
yes.
You have to assume that they have done the naughty. Yeah, I'm calling it that.
Okay, fine. And he goes to investigate, and there's 3 people downstairs eating breakfast, only one of whom is Grace.
As if it's very normal
that
they just happen to be in this house. So this is where Violet and Patrick turn up.
They are Grace's parents.
They claim to be Grace's parents.
Or are they?
Yeah. There's a claim there that they are. She says that they are. They say that they are. It seems very clear that they aren't.
Well, it becomes quickly claimed that they aren't because he obviously doesn't react well to these people being there. So he storms outside.
Yeah, he's a massive loner. He doesn't want people
there. And Grace chases after Dell straight away and says, "They're not my parents." Yeah. She says something like, "I was placed with them." Whatever that means.
Well, Paul Giamatti reveals at this point as well that there's thousands of people, hundreds if not thousands of people living in California.
Yes. So Paul Giamatti plays Patrick.
Yeah, sorry.
And again, another great actor.
Fantastic actor. One of the best, I would say.
Yes, he says, yes, there's plenty more people alive. And Dell obviously doesn't know whether to believe this or not.
Well, you wouldn't. So it seems like a really confusing thing to be told when you think the apocalypse has happened. To be told that it hasn't must be quite disturbing. We find out at this point as well that Violet has a scar as well on the back of her neck.
Yes, so the mother in inverted commas.
Charlotte Gainsbourg.
Yeah.
She has a scar on the back of her neck also. So something is clearly going on in this Californian town.
Yes. We have a bit of a back and forth, don't we? Patrick and Del have a bit of a one-to-one in the library.
Yeah, they go back to the library.
Patrick says, come back with us. We've got plenty of things for a guy of your resources and initiative. You can really contribute to our community.
Yeah, and
Del's not interested.
He completely dismisses that. He's absolutely happy on his own. He's happy whether Grace is there or not, but he's definitely not leaving this library where he's built this life. Incidentally, if the apocalypse happened, the last place I'd go to is work. I just wouldn't. You could literally go anywhere. Go and live. You could go live in Buckingham Palace if you wanted to.
It's a nice library, though.
It's a lovely library, but why would you want to live somewhere you work?
Well, because it's a nice library.
Well, I definitely wouldn't go to mine.
He's got a nice kitchen. He's got nice big glass windows looking out over this countryside.
Yeah, it's nice for a library.
He likes reading. I don't know.
No, I just wouldn't go. I definitely wouldn't go to my work unless there were zombies. We've got quite high fences.
They do. That does actually come up at one point. I think it's. I can't remember if it's Del or Grace. One of them says at one point, "Oh, it's not as if they're all these bodies are going to reanimate," and which I thought was quite a nice little nod.
Yeah, because it's a post-apocalyptic film. It's definitely not a zombie film.
Yeah,
which is a nice, refreshing change, I suppose. The dead are not going to come back to life, which is in the film world happens more than you would think. Palm Springs, that's where it is in California. I couldn't think of the name of the town, but it's Palm Springs.
So just before Patrick and Violet and Grace set back off home, Patrick leaves their address in a book.
Yes,
and puts it on the rack in the library.
Grace is quite reluctant to go, but doesn't seem to have any choice in going.
That's not really explored very well, actually, because she clearly doesn't want to go. Del doesn't really want her to go, but she goes along with it.
Yeah, Paul Giamatti's character seems to have a lot of hold over
She's not particularly coerced.
No.
It's just, they've come to get me, I have to go.
I have to go. I've got no choice in this.
And there was there could have been a bit more exploring that.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think
felt like there was a few character beats missing.
From this point onwards, the whole film could have done with a lot more explanation.
It lurched, didn't it? Somewhat.
Certainly lurched to a much faster tempo.
Yeah.
It was like watching the end of a completely different film.
Yeah, with the same people in it.
With the same people in it. So
let's talk a bit about that.
Yeah, so obviously Del then suddenly, when they've all left, suddenly decides that he does want to go.
Yeah, he goes into a bit of a funk, doesn't he?
He has a bit of a meltdown.
He realises, actually, I don't want to be on my own.
After all these years, I've decided, presuming it's years, he doesn't want to live on his own. He has a bit of a meltdown. He tries to find...
He has a dream of Grace as well, doesn't he?
Does. Yeah, there's a weird
vision that she's back in the library.
Yeah. So he tries to find the book that Patrick's left, but struggles at the start. He can't quite seem to remember where it was left.
Well, he's looked the same. He didn't make a note of which...
Yeah, but he works and he lives in that library. He should know it like the back of his hand.
He found it in the end, didn't he?
He did find it in the end, but it threw me a little bit that it took him so long. I feel like if somebody put a book down, and I'd remember where it was, but maybe that's just me. So anyway, he decides to go. He drives in his own car for as far as he can get before the road's blocked. Yeah.
This is a second montage, isn't it?
Yeah.
Where he drives.
It's a driving montage.
Drives and drives.
He's got to love a driving montage. So
he's going from one side of America to the other.
Yes, he's travelling a long way. He obviously has to change cars a few times because the roads are blocked by dead people in cars.
You can tell it's getting hotter as he's getting towards the west coast because he suddenly gains sunglasses and a bandana.
And some water, big bottle of water. Yeah, so he's in the desert at one point. He's going between night and day that he's driving in. It's a montage.
It's really beautifully shot as well. Again,
everything about this film's beautiful. There's even to the very last scene, which we'll come to. It was a really beautifully shot film, I thought.
So it's probably worth noting, and that sort of is borne out by, again, I mentioned the director of this, Reed Marino. So she was actually she has done a cinematography role on several films as well before a director.
So she's a cinematographer turned director. Yeah. That makes sense. I'd agree with that.
And there's a really nice shot as he comes over the brow of a hill, doesn't he? And he's at the top of a valley, and there's Palm Springs underneath him.
Completely lit.
At night time, and it's lit up, full of power.
Yeah, beautifully lit, as if nothing had ever happened.
Yeah,
which was bizarre to see for me. So I'm assuming it's very bizarre for him to see. But he sort of stood and looked at it for a while, and then there's a moment where you think, well, is he going to turn back, or is he going to go in? And he decides to go, and he finds the house where they're living in.
This is the bit that I liked. So he sort of sneaks up to the window, and Patrick and Violet are having dinner, aren't they?
Yeah.
And he peers through the window, and Violet spots him
she eyeballs him quite quickly.
And she sort of wanders over to the window, peers out, checks his sort of, does a double take, checks he's not, this guy's really there. And then she sort of pulls the curtain shut, and it's Patrick asks her, what's going on? What's going on? And she says, well, nothing. So she's obstructing the fact that he's there.
Yeah, it's at this point you start to realise that Patrick's maybe the bad guy in this film. And
Grace isn't there.
Grace is not in that scene at all. Eventually he goes into the house where he finds Grace.
And what does he find, Adam?
He finds... well, Nicholas. He finds Grace unconscious on a bed, strapped to a machine by her head.
Yeah, so she's
got some sort of hair mask. What's the hair mask called?
She's basically hooked up to some sort of brain scanning...
brain scanning machine.
But it's not like an MRI type thing. It's very rough and ready. Wires everywhere.
There's a big plug in the side of the bed with loads of wires in.
Yeah, and her brain is being monitored.
It seems to be. Yes. Definitely seems to be. So,
and she kind of starts to come around, and she recognises.
He wakes her up, and she comes around, and they decide to escape together. Is that what we're saying? I think that's what the plan was.
Yeah, well, they sort of sneak out the room, don't they?
Yeah, but then they're confronted by Patrick.
And he basically, in a kind of typical cliched bad guy way, then explains.
Yeah, he's like,
what's going on.
Yeah.
Which is essentially, society has started to rebuild in this little town, and they have doctors who are trying to basically wipe people's memories.
Wipe the bad stuff from people's memories.
So they talk about this event that happened, whatever it is, and he talks about why should people have to remember this and remember the people they've lost and the things they've experienced.
They're basically being brainwashed into forgetting or becoming numb to the fact that it's happened. I don't think they're forgetting, but I got the impression they were becoming numb to the fact that it had happened, and they were going to live this happy life in Palm Springs. And then she shoots him.
She does. Bang. One shot.
Literally one shot at him, straight through the heart. He drops down dead.
See you later, Patrick.
See you later. So we're down to 3 people.
And Violet just walks off.
Violet just says,
she's in a bit of a trance.
She goes over and checks him.
Yeah.
To make sure that he is dead.
Yeah.
And just walks out the door.
Yeah.
She's like, no, I'm done.
Yeah, don't want any of this.
But yeah, thanks for that. You almost freed me. They get in their car.
Hit the road, drive past a load of clearly brainwashed people on the way out. Yes, it's
a
bit sort of like...
It was very Tim Burton. It was
Pleasantville, Stepford Wives type.
It was a middle America scene of happy families, 50s style. Everybody was on bikes and chatting with each other, and looked really nice, but not really being aware that the apocalypse had happened around them.
So yeah, Del and Grace hit the road. Presumably heading back.
Stop just outside the town, put the roof down, Thelma and Louise it out into the sunset.
Yeah, holding one another's hands.
Nice. I like what you're doing all the way through this. You've got a theme and you're sticking to it. Have you actually written the lyrics down?
No, I haven't. No.
No. It's even more sad that you know them.
I've danced to that song a lot.
He does to every song.
Yeah.
So that is the end of I Think We're Alone Now. Thoughts?
Mostly I liked it. It's like I said, it's the best film we've watched. I think it is the best film we've watched.
As a film, yeah, it is the best film we've watched.
I enjoyed Bait more.
Yeah.
But this is the best film, technically, we've watched.
Apart from the last 10 minutes.
I was not comfortable with the huge tonal lurch that seemed to come out of nowhere.
It happened quick. It was 10, 15 minutes at the most, and that whole ending was.
Yeah, that suddenly there's these crazy science experiments going on.
Strapped onto this 90-minute film.
Yeah.
I think this is a better film if you tell it from the other perspective. So if you start in Palm Springs...
Right.
And then find a man who's living on his own, I think you've got a better film.
Interesting. And then you're trying to convince him to come back. And
yeah.
Okay, that is interesting.
I think it's... If you tell that film from Paul Giamatti's perspective and what he's been through since the apocalypse, I think you've got a better film. Maybe not a better film, but a better story.
Right.
But what we've got is the other way around with a 10-minute bolted on ending.
That'd be really interesting.
I'd like to see a prequel.
Well, you could almost have two films saying the same story.
Yeah.
Just from a different perspective. That's a really intriguing idea.
Prequel running at the same time.
So yeah, this isn't without its problems. I can forgive the fact it's slow because it is good at building the atmosphere.
It is, and it's written to be slow. It's not unintentionally slow. There's an intention there that we're going to make a slow, plodding film. And
I think you can see why this attracted a good calibre of actor.
Yeah, it's a heck of a script to get.
Because, well, even if it's a script with a few words short on dialogue, it's Peter Dinklage on screen on his own for a lot of this film.
For him, it's a showcase piece of what he can do. I'm not sure what I think of it as a whole. As a film, it's like you say, it's good and it's beautiful shot. But that, again, we seem to be coming across a recurring theme of terrible endings to these films that we're watching.
Yeah, do you know what occurred to me?
What?
We watched The Open House, where, spoiler alert, if you've not heard the episode, go and listen to it now.
Go back to listen to episode 1.
Everyone ends up dead.
Yeah.
We watched Await Further Instructions. Spoiler alert. Everyone ends up dead. We watched this. Everyone starts off dead.
Nice. That's very true. There's quite a lot of people die in bait as well.
Yeah. Would you recommend this to anyone to watch?
Yes, but not to everyone. I think there's a certain type of film viewer that would get something out of this. Yeah, I think I would. I don't think I'd recommend my parents watch it. I don't think I'd recommend it to quite a few of my friends. But there's definitely people out there that would enjoy this film.
Yeah, there are merits in it. I mean, would you sit and watch it for fun? I don't know.
No, probably not. If you're into post-apocalyptic films, then it's got its place.
It's an hour and a half long. It's got good performances, isn't it? It looks wonderful. Like, as you say, it looks good plot wise.
It's plodding.
Yeah, and then that last 15 minutes just goes so far in a left turn that it's not. It feels like a twist for twist's sake.
Yeah, I would have been happy with half an hour of that. I wanted more. I want to know more about what they were doing and why they were doing it.
Yeah.
And not just it to be the bolt-on end of a film. Like I said, I want to see more of it from that perspective.
I think it's a really interesting observation.
Yeah. Who knows, maybe I'll get to it. Maybe one day they'll make a sequel or a prequel. Or what do you call a film that runs at the same time as another film?
A concurrent quill.
Concurrent. I like it. Yeah, so let us know what you thought, I guess.
Yeah, have a look, have a watch, and
drop us a tweet on Twitter.
We'll read a few out. And
yeah, I remember the Twitter this week.
Reply to you. Go for it.
At BOTS_podcast. I've also set up a Facebook group, so you can. I don't know how you find a Facebook group, but just search Facebook, search Bottom of the Stream on Facebook, and you'll find it. We've got an email address, bottomofthestream@gmail.com.
You can find us on all good podcast
and some
distribution formats.
Some bad ones, and most of the good ones. So subscribe to the podcast, drop us a review, that'd be really helpful. 5 stars is always nice. So I think it's time to pick next week's film.
Yeah.
Do you agree?
Absolutely.
Let me open my app.
I don't think I've added in any since last week, so I think we're still at our...
I have added one.
High 20s or whatever to go for.
I added one, but I can't remember what it was. I did add it to the app, so we were all right. We were all good. Right, so we've got the app. I've added one more film to it since last week, so there's still 27, because obviously this one's been taken off it. So, are you ready?
Go for it.
It has brought up Little Evil.
Little Evil.
Little Evil.
Sounds horror.
Sounds like a horror-y type film. Let me find you the synopsis, and I will read it to you. Can't spell evil.
It's a tricky one. It's a tricky one.
Interesting cast. Right, the synopsis says, Gary, who has just married Samantha, the woman of his dreams, discovers that her 6-year-old son may be the Antichrist.
Okay.
Which is a scary thing to imagine, I would think. It's described on IMDb as a comedy horror.
Oh, excellent. So, okay, that'll be interesting. I'm thinking like The Omen.
From 2017. It stars Evangeline Lilly.
Oh.
Which, being huge Lost fans, is quite exciting. Also stars Adam Scott.
Okay, yeah.
Marcus Terrell Smith. Clancy Brown.
Oh, he's in Lost as well.
He's in Lost as well.
Is it a Netflix
Donald
original?
Faison.
Really? From Scrubs?
From Scrubs. It is not a Netflix original. It was released in 2017. Oh, no, it is a Netflix original. Apologies. It is a Netflix original. It has an awesome poster, but obviously you can't see that until you go on Twitter where I put it up.
Excellent.
That's next review.
I'm really excited we're doing a comedy.
Yeah.
Because I'm all up for comedies and you don't like them.
It's not that I don't like comedies, it's just I find there's a specific type of comedy that I like. And
I will quite happily sit and watch a stupid comedy that knows it's stupid, whereas I know it really winds you up.
I will not. I cannot watch a film with Ben Stiller I went to the cinema last night and there was a trailer for Seth Rogen's new film and it made me angry in 2 minutes. And so we'll see. I do like Adam Scott because he's in The Good Place and all that.
Yeah, he's very good. He's in
so
Parks
we'll
and
see.
Rec, isn't he?
Well, maybe it'll divide us completely. We haven't really had one we've been completely divided on.
No, not yet. So
it could be interesting. So tune in next week for episode 5 and we will be back then.
Yeah, give it a watch if you get a chance.
Yeah, definitely give it a watch before then. You've got a week. There's plenty of time to watch a film. It's only on for 90 minutes.
Yeah, no excuse.
Yeah. And we will see you then.
Cheers.
Bye.